Senate will come to order. All those not having privileges of the floor will please vacate the chamber. Those in the gallery and those on the floor will please rise as we're led in prayer by Timothy Meadows, chaplain of the Parkersburg Correctional Center and Jail, and the St. Mary's Correctional Center and Jail. Please remain standing after the prayer as the senator from Raleigh leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Chaplain.
Join me as we set a firm foundation and seek a proper focus for the day. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we pause from our labor to seek your wisdom and guidance. We are taught by generations past, start the day by counting our blessings. Your proverb is our guide. The memory of the just is blessed. Thank you, Lord, for this assembly. The weight of serving in this body of the legislature can at times contain overwhelming pressure. God, we ask in such times you give these senators audience, hear their petitions, and inspire them. We pray, God, you give these senators the wisdom of Solomon, coupled together with the heart of his father David. Lord, we ask for a blessing upon each senator and the Senate staff. Thank you, Lord, for the families represented here. Many have sacrificed precious time with children or an elderly parent to fulfill their obligation to create a better tomorrow for West Virginia. God, give these loved family members strength and protection in their labor and travels. Lord, we ask for a blessing upon their home. Lastly, thank you, Lord, for creating mankind in your image. We, mankind, were given the capacity to love, nurture, and respect life. God, help us. Help us to love each other like you love us. God, help us to be a blessing to our neighbors in need. And most of all, Lord, help us. Help us to see your design in every life. Lord, we ask a blessing upon this state. Our hearts are humbled by your grace. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Senator from Raleigh.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the guests in the galleries please join us on the floor as we recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reading of the Journal.
West Virginia Legislature Senate Journal, February 16, 2022. The Senate met at 11:01 a.m. Senator Blair, Mr. President, in the chair.
The senator from Jefferson requests unanimous consent that further reading of the journal is dispensed with and that the journal is approved. Is there objection? Chair hears none. Further reading of the journal is dispensed with and the journal is approved. Introduction of guest. On behalf of the Senate, it is my pleasure to welcome our honorary pages for the day. Please stand and be recognized as your name is called. As guests is the senator from Boone, Abby Pauley and Emma Sanders. As guests is the senator from Logan, Sophia Phillips, John Osborne, Lorelei Staten, and Anna Holstein. As guests is the junior senator from the 8th, Jeremiah Eagle, Maximum Dunn, and Parker Workman. As guests is the senator from Greenbrier, Logan Ballard, and Hayden McGuffin. Will the Senate please make them feel welcome? Further introduction, Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Senate, it is your pleasure and mine to introduce our doc of the day. In the rear of the chamber with us today from Pineville, West Virginia, we have Dr. Joanna Bailey. If you wouldn't mind standing, let Senate give you a warm welcome.
Further introduction, Senator from Preston.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's your pleasure and mine, and on behalf of the senator from Tucker and myself, we're pleased to have with us in the North Gallery today some 8th grade students from Preston County. And if they would all stand, I'll read their names off here. From Terra Alta East Preston, we have Holly Nelson, Jasmine Uphold, Brooklyn Sierra, Brandy Rodeheaver, Will Boney, Sam Sisler, Gracie Hogger, Corin Owens. From Aurora School, we have Lakin McCurr, J.D. Schaefer. And from South Preston, we have Zane Pfeiffer, Michael Moore Jr., Ethan White, Wesley Poling, Destiny Waybright, Caitlin Farrell, Avon Yunker, and Caitlin Miner. Senator, please make them feel welcome.
Senator from Boone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Accompanying our pages from Hamlin Pre-K, on behalf of the Senator from Logan, we're very pleased to welcome their social studies teacher, Mr. Alex Elkins. If he'd stand and the Senate make him welcome. Further, Mr. President, on behalf of the Senator from Logan and the other senators that represent Roane County, we have the EMS Director for Roane, Jody Ratliff, and the EMS Director from Lincoln County, Trish Watson, and also from Lincoln County, Brenda Price. If they would stand and the Senate make them welcome.
Further introductions, Senator from Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed in the hallways today we have a lot of students here from Youth in Government, and we have 3 students from my district. And on behalf of the Senior Senator from the 4th and myself, we'd like to welcome Mr. Jason Gump from Ravenswood Middle School and his 3 students, Annie Starcher, Preston Riggs, and Caleb Murray. If the Senate would please make them feel welcome.
Senator from Wetzel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Later on this morning, we will be taking up a resolution honoring the corrections officers and people in the state that have worked with us. And have with us in the President's Gallery today people that are here from the Department of Corrections to take part in this presentation. I have Betsy Jividen, the Commissioner of Corrections, Paul Simmons, Deputy Commissioner, Marvin Plumley, Assistant Commissioner for Bureau of Prisons and Jails, Ann Thomas, Assistant Commissioner for the Bureau of Community Corrections, William Marshall, Assistant Commissioner from the Bureau of Juvenile Services, Scott Patterson, Assistant Commissioner, Bureau of Training and Staff Development, and David Farmer, Assistant Commissioner, Bureau of Intergovernmental Affairs. And I don't know if the Secretary Sandy and his Deputy Secretary Rob are still with us, but if they would all stand and please, Senate, make these people welcome. They're heroes in their own sense. Thank you.
Senator from Logan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today we have with us, seated in the President's Gallery, chaperones for our honorary pages from Logan High School, Man Middle, a classmate, Chloe Kahn, John Osborne's mother, Michelle Osborne, Lorelei Staten's father, Garen Staten, Anna Holstein's mother, Mary Beth Holstein. If they would stand and the chamber make them welcome. And one more thing, Mr. President. Last but not least, Mr. President, I'm a proud father that my BFF, my pumpkin pie, is here with me today, Sophia Lauren Phillips, for my birthday. Thank you so much. Would the chamber make her welcome?
Nothing like a dad embarrassing his daughter. Junior Senator from the 17th.
That's a tough one to follow, but thank you, Mr. President. Watching with us virtually today is a good friend, neighbor, and one of the many advocacies that we are so pleasured to normally have in the red coats, but it's Kathy Merrill's watching in. If the members would help welcome her and our other red coat AARP advocacy people. Thank you.
Further introductions. Senator from Greenbrier.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the senator from Summers, I'd like to introduce the parents of several pages that we have here today. First, I'd like to ask Logan's mom, Autumn Ballard. Logan is here today from Fayetteville, PK to 8. If she would please stand, and the Senate make her feel welcome. And then also, Hayden is here today as a page, and I need to point him out because Hayden is Wes Tony's stepson, and we also have with us Hayden's mom, Wes's wife, Tiga Tony. We owe a great debt of gratitude to Hayden and to Tiga for sharing Wes with us throughout the session. If the Senate will please make her feel welcome.
Further introductions. Junior Senator from the 8th.
Yes, Mr. President. On your behalf and on behalf of the senior senator from the 8th, we have seated in the President's Gallery the chaperones for honorary pages from Elkview Middle School. Maxim Dunn's mother, Jessica Reeves, and Parker Workman's mother, Sarah Workman, if they could both stand and if the Senate could make them feel welcome.
Are there further introductions? Communications from the House.
The Clerk of the House announced the passage by that body of committee substitute for House Bill 4002, creating the Certified Sites and Development Readiness Program.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Economic Development.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4008, relating to Higher Education Policy Commission funding formula.
Message will be received. The bill will be referred to the Committee on Education, then the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4259, creating the West Virginia Small Business Jumpstart Act.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4351, relating to the implementation of an acuity-based patient classification system.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Health and Human Resources and then to the Committee on the Judiciary.
House Bill 4352, decreasing federal taxable income.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4426, repeal Article 3325G1 et sec, creating provider-sponsored networks.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Banking and Insurance and then the Committee on Health and Human Resources.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4451, eliminating the requirement that otherwise qualified investment assets be located or installed at or within 2 miles of a pre-existing manufacturing facility.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
House Bill 4460, relating to authorizing application of the manufacturing investment tax credit and the manufacturing property tax adjustment credit against personal income tax.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4465, relating to the tax credit for apprenticeship training.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4470, relating to consumer sales and service tax and use tax exemption for certain goods to be incorporated into a qualified new or expanded warehouse or distribution facility.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4489, require counties to post open positions on statewide job bank.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Education.
The House adopted the following resolutions naming bridges and roadways. House Concurrent Resolution 1, House Concurrent Resolution 4, House Concurrent Resolution 7, House Concurrent Resolution 9, House Concurrent Resolution 13, House Concurrent Resolution 14, House Concurrent Resolution 25, House Concurrent Resolution 26, House Concurrent Resolution 36, House Concurrent Resolution 46, House Concurrent Resolution 47, House Concurrent Resolution 48, House Concurrent Resolution 49, House Concurrent Resolution 50, House Concurrent Resolution 52, and House Concurrent Resolution 61.
Messages will be received, and the resolutions will be referred to the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. Communications from the Executive.
There are none.
Reports from standing committees.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration Senate Bill 11, including family court judges and judges' retirement system, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but under the original double committee reference, first be referred to the Committee on Finance. Respectfully submitted, Charles S. Trump IV, Chair.
Report will be received, and under the original double committee reference, the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration Senate Bill 137, requiring persons convicted of certain felonies on or after March 8, 1995, provide DNA samples, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Charles S. Trump IV, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration committee substitute for Senate Bill 216, creating Student Journalist Press Freedom Restoration Act, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Charles S. Trump IV, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Education has had under consideration Senate Bill 226, allowing substitute teachers who suspect unfair exclusion from certain assignments to request explanation from certain school officials, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Patricia Puertas Rucker, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Pensions has had under consideration Senate Bill 486, allowing PERS retirees to designate Special Needs Trust as beneficiary, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Eric Nelson Jr., Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration Senate Bill 488, eliminating restrictions on voting rights for formerly incarcerated individuals, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Charles S. Trump IV, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Economic Development has had under consideration Senate Bill 523, transferring oversight of Jobs Investment Trust Fund to West Virginia Economic Development Authority, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass, but under the original double committee reference, first be referred to the Committee on Finance. Respectfully submitted, Chandler Swope, Chair.
Report will be received. Senior Senator from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the second reference to Committee on Finance. The bill is revenue neutral. It has no impact on state budget.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration Senate Bill 535, providing for revocation of school personnel certification or licensure in certain circumstances, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Charles S. Trump IV, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on the Workforce has had under consideration Senate Bill 548, authorizing Workforce West Virginia employers to obtain employment classifications and work locations, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass. Respectfully submitted, Roland A. Roberts, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on the Workforce has had under consideration Senate Bill 582, creating West Virginia Workforce Resiliency Act, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass, but under the original double committee reference, first be referred to the Committee on Finance. Respectfully submitted, Roland A. Roberts, Chair.
Report will be received, and under the original double committee reference, the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Health and Human Resources has had under consideration Senate Bill 585, creating an administrative medicine license for physicians not practicing clinical medicine, and reports back a committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Michael J. Maroney, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Economic Development has had under consideration Senate Bill 597, relating to PSC underground facilities, damage prevention, and one-call system, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass. Respectfully submitted, Chandler Swope, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Finance has had under consideration Senate Bill 624, making supplementary appropriation to DHHR, Division of Health Laboratory Services. Senate Bill 626, supplementing, amending, and increasing existing items of appropriation from State Road Fund to DOT, DMV. Senate Bill 627, supplementing, amending, and increasing existing item of appropriation from State Road Fund to DOT, DOH. And Senate Bill 634, making supplementary appropriation to DHHR, Division of Health, Hospital Services Revenue Account, Special Fund Capital Improvement, Renovation, and Operations, and reports the same back with the recommendation that they each do pass. Respectfully submitted, Eric J. Tarr, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Finance has had under consideration Senate Bill 625, making supplementary appropriation to DHHR, Division of Health, Vital Statistics Account, and reports back a committee substitute for same with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Eric J. Tarr, Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Pensions has had under consideration Senate Bill 641, requiring Consolidated Public Retirement Board to set contributions to Deputy Sheriff's retirement system, and reports back a committee substitute for same with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass. Respectfully submitted, Eric Nelson Jr., Chair.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration engrossed House Bill 3303 relating to clarifying the process of filling vacancies on ballots, and has amended same and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass as amended. Respectfully submitted, Charles S. Trump IV, Chair.
Report will be received. Reports from select committees.
There are none.
Introduction of bills. Senior Senator from the 17th.
Mr. President, I request unanimous consent that Senate Bill 661 through Senate Bill 668 be considered introduced, read by their titles, and referred to the appropriate committees as shown on the chamber automation system.
Senior Senator from the 17th requests unanimous consent that Senate Bill 661 through Senate Bill 668 be considered introduced, read by their titles, referred to the appropriate committees as shown on the chamber automation system. Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Resolutions.
Senate Joint Resolution 11 by Senator Jeffries, Fair County Commissioner Representation Amendment.
Resolution will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary and then the Committee on Finance.
Senate Joint Resolution 12 by Senator Jeffries, Fair School Board Representation Amendment.
Resolution will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary and then the Committee on Finance.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 48 by Senators Stover and Roberts, naming the U.S. Army Private First Class Ronald Lee Berry Memorial Bridge.
Under the rules of the Senate, the resolution will lie over one day. Motions. Petitions.
I have a petition presented by Senator Beach from the Faculty Senate of Pierpont Community and Technical College requesting the governor remove the current Board of Governors.
The petition will be referred to the Committee on Education. Senior Senator from the 17th.
Mr. President, our question unanimous consent to return to the fourth order of business.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. Reports from standing committees.
Your Committee on Pensions has had under consideration Senate Bill 669, originating in committee, changing retirement contribution levels for certain judges, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but with the further recommendation that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance. Respectfully submitted, Eric Nelson Jr., Chair.
Report will be received. Senate will come to order.
Your Committee on Pensions has had under consideration Senate Bill 670, originating in committee, including certain newly hired 911 personnel and emergency medical services retirement system, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass. Respectfully submitted, Eric Nelson, Jr., Chair.
Report will be received. Unfinished business.
Committee substitute for Senate Concurrent Resolution 27, naming the U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Harold William Schmidl Memorial Bridge.
Question is on adoption of resolution. Is there discussion? If not, question is on adoption of the resolution. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. I declare the resolution adopted. The clerk will communicate the action and send it to the House.
Committee substitute for Senate Concurrent Resolution 38, naming the Cox Brothers Veterans Memorial Bridge.
Question is on adoption of the resolution. Is there discussion? If not, the question is on adoption of the resolution. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. I declare the resolution adopted. The clerk will communicate the action and send it to the House.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 47, naming the Fire Chief Lee Thomas Memorial Bridge.
The resolution will be referred to the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure.
Senate Resolution 30, designating February 17th, 2022 as Corrections Day.
Senator from Wetzel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the resolution be taken up for immediate consideration, committee substitute be done away with, and a resolution put upon its adoption.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. The clerk will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 30, designating February 17th, 2022 as Corrections Day.
Question is on adoption of resolution. Is there discussion? Senator from Wetzel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have had the honor and privilege of working with the Corrections Department over the last 4 or 5 years as serving on the Committee of Oversight on the Jails and Prisons. I have found that it is a very efficient and well-run organization, and I want to stop and talk, though, a second about those people that are working there every day. We've talked about heroes that work in our hospitals and first responders. These people aren't first responders. They are 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week responders that have a very, very difficult job to do. I don't think I would want to have that job myself. And with the COVID pandemic and everything, they have really come forward. They have worked hard, they have worked overtime, they have worked long hours. And at this time, I want to just cite one individual. I'd ask Lieutenant Bobby Berry, please stand up. He's in the President's Gallery up here. Lieutenant Berry is a significant contributor to the DHA's COVID-19 response. He proved instrumental in securing and providing personal protective equipment and vaccines for DCR facilities. He oversaw the successful transfer of inmates from jails to prisons to ease the crowding while adhering to strict COVID-19 guidelines. He also supervised the hospitalization of a high-risk inmate, ensuring the offender's month-long stay was without incident. Lieutenant Berry is an example of the people who work every day in the Corrections Department with a very difficult job. And, Mr. President, I think we owe it to them to at least say we will adopt this resolution. Thank you, sir.
Further discussion. Senator from Brook.
Mr. President, I just want to join with the Senator from Wetzel in this resolution, but I want to recognize he'd already did so in a small part, but I wanted to recognize a particular group of people that are in the President's Gallery, and that is the Honor Guard from the department. And it's made up of 4 individuals. One is Lieutenant Bobby Berry from the Central Office that the Senator from Wetzel mentioned, but also joining him is Corporal Leonard Barnett, who's from the Huttonsville Correctional Center, Major Richard Toney from the Mount Olive Correctional Center, and Sergeant Robert Johnson of Lakin. And normally we have them down here on the floor with us as they present the colors, but unfortunately unable to do so this year, but they are joining us in the gallery, and I think their efforts should be recognized and commended as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
So further discussion. So further discussion. If not, the question is on adoption of the resolution. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. I declare the resolution adopted. Bills on third reading.
Engrossed committee substitute for Senate Bill 371, authorizing miscellaneous boards and agencies to promulgate legislative rules. Third reading of the bill.
Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent that the bill lie over one day while retaining its place on the calendar.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered.
Engrossed committee substitute for Senate Bill 574, relating to West Virginia PEIA.
Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent that the bill lie over one day while retaining its place on the calendar.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered.
Engrossed committee substitute for House Bill 3312, establishing a memorial to child labor and child workers who died in the course of employment in this state. Third reading of the bill.
Question is on passage of the bill. Senior Senator from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 3312 establishes a memorial to child labor in Fairmont, West Virginia. The location of Fairmont was chosen for the memorial due to its proximity to the 1907 Monongah mine disaster, where an unknown number of children perished. The bill would promote a green, park-like space with a monument serving as a reminder that the job of children should be to learn and play. The bill further creates a commission to oversee the construction and dedication of the memorial. Ownership of the memorial would transfer to the city of Fairmont for the city to maintain unless it was unable to do so. In that case, ownership would transfer to the Department of Arts, Culture, and History. I'll entertain questions. Otherwise, I urge passage of the bill.
Question is on passage of the bill. Is there discussion? Senator from Marion.
Would the chairman yield, Mr. President?
Will the senator from the 6th yield? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to bring your attention to page 3 of the bill, 10.3A4, and that's dealing with the funding to construct this memorial. And it says that the Division of Labor shall allocate funds in the amount of $500,000 toward the completion, but it also talks about the commission being established, having the authority to obtain funds through other means such as grants, charitable donations, etc. Is it your understanding, Mr. Chairman, that the $500,000 coming from the Division of Labor should be last dollar in as we do other grant funding such as the coal mine memorial here at the on the Capitol grounds? That was done with private funding.
It's my understanding they have money available that they are going to use. However, like you said, grants are permissible to ask for grants to pay for it, even without using that money from the Division of Labor.
So I'm trying to understand, are you saying that the grants should be at least attempted before we use the $500,000 out of the Division of Labor?
I actually did some research, and it's not required for them to search for grants first, but it is allowed, and it would be preferred, I'm sure. However, the Division of Labor, it is under their jurisdiction to get the money from the location that they best see fit.
Okay, so they don't have to apply for grants first, I guess.
It's not required by this bill, but it is acceptable.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, I'd like to speak to the bill, please.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to rise in support of this bill, and I certainly hope that the funding for this monument will be at least attempted, Mr. President, to come from private funds, as we did so many other memorials, such as the coal mine memorial here on the Capitol grounds. There is no more appropriate place to put a memorial like this and to memorialize a loss of life than Marion County, West Virginia, because back in December of 1907, December 6th, the largest industrial accident in the history of the United States happened at the Monongah number 6 and number 8 mines. Explosion ripped through those coal mines and rocked an entire community, and it's always noted that 361 were known dead. I want you to think about that. Were known dead. Because back in those days, Mr. President, back in the coal camps, coal camps were made up of many immigrants, Italian, Polish, Irish, African-American folks who came to West Virginia and weren't treated very well and were living in coal camps and weren't even allowed to communicate with each other because they was afraid if they communicated, they could get together and form a union and form a better way of life for themselves. So they kept them separated in these coal camps so they didn't learn each other's language. But you know, when that mine exploded, they all died. Regardless of where they came from, regardless of the language they spoke, they all died. And I want to direct your attention back to the 361 known dead. There were many children in that coal mine that no one knew. They never accounted for the people that went into the mine back then. You see, you got paid by the ton back in those days, Mr. President, and you got cheated when they weighed your coal. And they took 30% off. They called it rock and refuse that didn't account for coal. So you got cheated at the weigh scale. So back in those days, to feed your family, you brought everybody in you could to help you load the coals. You get more tonnage, you made more money. You tried to provide a better way for your life. So instead of little children going to school, instead of little children going to the playground, some as young as 10 years old were working in a coal mine. Now I want you to think about that. Some as young as 10 years old were working in a coal mine. So when that mine exploded, we don't know how many people were in that mine. We can only account for 361 people. And when you go to that graveyard in Monongah, they still kept those miners separated. There's a place where the Italians were buried. There's a place where the Polish were buried. There's a place where the African Americans were buried. And then there's this big strip of ground, Mr. President, full of unknowns, full of body parts, full of people that couldn't be identified from that tragic day in 1907. You know, this is something I wish we weren't doing, Mr. President. This is something I hope we never have to do again. Seems like every time there's a tragedy in the coal fields, we all run together, we pass some safety laws, we dedicate a memorial, and then we move on until the next time. I don't want to go to any more memorials, Mr. President. I've spoken at so many memorials in my career working for the union. I don't want to speak at any more. And it's a shame that we even have to talk about this, but we do have to memorialize those lives. But this is also going to memorialize a part of history where the union finally got in the contract where children could no longer work in the coal mines. We fought hard for that. It was the union that did that, Mr. President. So this, to me, doesn't only memorialize the loss of life, it memorializes the day we fought and we achieved victory so children never had to go back in those coal mines again. So I thank you, Mr. President, for that memorial. I thank the sponsors of this bill for recognizing the facts that I just laid out. Maybe that wasn't their intent, but that's what happened. And that's why children are no longer dying in the mines, Mr. President. So I'm going to ask my colleagues to support this. I'm going to work hard back in Marion County trying to make this a reality. And I think we should work really hard to secure the funding, because I think the very companies that cause these tragedies should pony up some money to help us build it. So I hope I have your support on that, Mr. President. I hope I have support of this body on that. And I urge a yea vote on this memorial.
So further discussion. Senator from Monongalia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unanimous consent that the eloquent remarks by my colleague from the 13th District be printed in the appendix of the journal.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Further discussion. If not, question before the Senate is, shall the bill pass? All those in favor vote yea. Those opposed will vote nay. The clerks will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the results. On this question, 33 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent and not voting. More than a majority of those present and voting having voted in the affirmative, I declare the bill passed. The clerk will communicate the action of the Senate to the House.
Engrossed House Bill 4308, authorizing disclosure of juvenile information to Crime Victims Compensation Fund for investigation and award of benefits. The bill is at third reading of the bill. The bill is advanced to third reading with the right to amend.
Are there amendments to the bill?
Yes, sir. The Committee on the Judiciary moved to amend the bill by striking out everything after the enacting clause.
Senator from Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent to explain the committee amendment in lieu of having it read.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. Senator from Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee amendment is a strike and insert for the whole bill. So as I explain the amendment, I will be explaining the bill. The bill amends two sections of the state code. One's Chapter 14, Article 2A, Section 14, and one is Chapter 49, Article 5, Section 101. And then the bill will create a new section in the state code, and that is Chapter 14, Article 2A, it's designated Section 11A. And I'll start with that one because Article 14, Chapter 14, Article 2A is our Crime Victims Compensation Act. It addresses compensation out of the Victims' Compensation Fund for the victims of crime. And this new section allows an application for benefits to be filed with the Crime Victims' Compensation Fund on behalf of a minor child who's been the subject of civil abuse and neglect petition. And the Act makes it clear that the application can be filed by a foster parent, the legal guardian of the child, a court-appointed guardian ad litem, or any person or entity having legal custody of the child. And so making sure that if a child has a claim or right to victims' compensation, it can be filed by someone authorized to do that. The amendments to Chapter 49, Article 5 are to Section 101. They relate to confidentiality of records. So this allows the West Virginia Crime Victims Compensation Fund and its designees to obtain those records, which are sealed. They're otherwise sealed. Petitions involving abuse or neglect of a minor child are sealed court records. Now, at the end of that section, there's a whole bunch of new language, and what that is, I'm talking about subsections J, K, L, M, and N, and those are amendments that were already made in a previous Senate bill that we passed to that same section. So the practice is when we send multiple bills that have multiple amendments to the same section of code, we try to conform them all so that everything we've passed in another bill involving this section is included in this bill. Mr. President, be happy to try to answer any questions. Otherwise, I urge the passage of the bill.
Is there discussion? If not, the question to the Senate is adoption of the amendment offered by the Committee on the Judiciary. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. I declare the amendment adopted. Are there further amendments to the bill?
No, sir.
The question now is on passage of the bill. Senator from Morgan. Is there discussion? If not, the question before the Senate is, shall the bill pass? All those in favor vote yea. Those opposed will vote nay. The clerk should prepare the machine. Has every member voted? Has every member voted? If so, the clerk close the machine and ascertain the results on this question. 33 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent and not voting. More than a majority of those present voting having voted in affirmative, I declare the bill passed. The clerk has the title amendment.
The Committee on the Judiciary moved to amend the title of the bill.
Senator from Morgan, title amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that the title amendment reported by the Committee on the Judiciary be withdrawn.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. The clerk has another title amendment.
Senator Trump moved to amend the title of the bill.
Question is on adoption of the title amendment. Discussion?
Correct. Title amendment.
All those in favor of the title amendment will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. I declare the title amendment adopted. The clerk will communicate the actions and send it to the House. Bills on second reading.
Senate Bill 213, establishing licensed professional counseling compact. Second reading of the bill.
Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent for the bill to move to third with right to amend.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 247 relating to certified community behavioral health clinics. Second reading of the bill.
Are there amendments to the bill?
No, sir.
The bill will be engrossed and advanced to third reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 268, creating exemption from compulsory school attendance for a child who participates in Learning Pod or micro school. Second reading of the bill.
Senior Senator from the 17th.
Mr. President, I request unanimous consent for the bill to move to third with right to amend.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 438, relating generally to West Virginia Security for Public Deposits Act. Second reading of the bill.
Are there amendments to the bill?
No, sir.
The bill will be engrossed and advanced to third reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 543, creating unemployment compensation insurance fraud unit within Workforce West Virginia. Second reading of the bill.
Are there amendments to the bill?
No, sir.
The bill will be engrossed and advanced to third reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 584, relating to West Virginia Infrastructure and Jobs Development Council. Second reading of the bill.
Are there amendments to the bill?
No, sir.
The bill will be engrossed and advanced to third reading.
Engrossed House Bill 4048, West Virginia Keep, Bear, and Drive with Arms Act. Second reading of the bill.
Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent for the bill to move to third with right to amend.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered.
Engrossed Committee substitute for House Bill 4114, authorizing certain agencies of the Department of Administration to promulgate legislative rules. Second reading of the bill.
Are there amendments to the bill?
No, sir.
The bill will be advanced to third reading.
Engrossed House Bill 4299 to prohibit the intentional interference with election processes and creating associated criminal penalties. Second reading of the bill.
Are there amendments to the bill?
Yes, sir. The Committee on the Judiciary moved to amend the bill by striking out everything after the enacting clause.
Senator from Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent to explain the committee amendment in lieu of having it read.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. Senator from Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee amendment is a strike and insert amendment for the bill, which would create one new section in the state code. It goes in Chapter 3, which is elections, Article 9, which is offenses and penalties, and it would be designated as Section 21. And I probably should have just let the clerk read it, but I'm going to read it because it's short. This section addresses, it creates a new crime when people interfere with somebody trying to get to and from the polls. And so here's what it says. Any person during hours of polling places open for any election who intentionally and physically interferes with a voter's travel on the walkways, driveways, and parking areas adjacent to a building in which a polling place is located with the intention to delay, hinder, interrupt, harass, or intimidate a voter shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and fined not more than $1,000 or confined in jail for not more than 1 year or both fined and confined. That's it. Mr. President, I'll be happy to try to answer any questions. Otherwise, I will urge adoption of the committee amendment and ultimately, well, no, we're only on second reading. Adoption of the committee amendment.
Is there discussion? If not, question for the Senate is adoption of the amendment offered by the Committee on the Judiciary. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. I declare the amendment adopted. Are there further amendments to the bill?
No, sir.
The bill will be advanced to third reading.
Engrossed committee substitute for House Bill 4333 relating to the sunset of the Board of Hearing Aid Dealers and Fitters. Second reading of the bill.
Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent for the bill to move to third with right to amend.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Bills on first reading. Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent that all bills on first reading be considered read a first time and advanced to second reading.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. Bills will be advanced. Introduction to guest. Remarks by members. Senator from Randolph.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just thought I would bring a bit of trivia to your attention and the members of the body. 4,007 is a prime number. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair is a little disappointed. Further remarks? Senator from Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today's a special day for a member of our body here. It's his birthday. The senator from Logan, Rupee's birthday is today. And I think it's ironic that it also lands on Correction Day. So I'd like for the members to wish our senator from Logan happy birthday. So.
Further remarks? Miscellaneous business. Senior Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Subject to announcements, I move the Senate stand adjourned until tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I have one additional announcement, and that is to alert the members that we do plan on being in session next Saturday, so that you can just adjust your calendars unless there's something else that comes up.
Are there announcements? Senator from Jefferson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Committee on Education will meet today at 2 p.m. in room 451M. The agenda has been posted.
Senior Senator from the 4th.
Mr. President, your Committee on Finance will meet today at 3 p.m. in room 451M.
Senator from Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Committee on the Judiciary will also meet today at 3 o'clock p.m. in 208 in the West Wing in the Judiciary Committee room. And heads up, we're planning on a committee meeting tomorrow. Don't know what time yet, but there'll be a Judiciary Committee meeting tomorrow.
Senior Senator from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Committee on Government Organization will be meeting today at 2 p.m. in room 208 West. The agenda has been posted.
Senator from Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee on Health will meet today, 1 p.m., 451M.
Senator from Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Committee on Energy will meet today at 1 p.m. in 208 West, and the agenda has been posted.
Further announcements. Senator from Marion.
Thank you, Mr. President. The AFL-CIO Labor Caucus will be held immediately upon adjournment in room 330 West. Lunch is provided. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are there further announcements? If not, the question for the Senate is the Senate stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow. All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The Senate will be adjourned till 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. It's February the 17th. I've got an awful lot of not real good news here as far as the folks that we've lost. Some of these are reconciliations, but this number is 123 additional deaths that we have in West Virginia now. Now we're up to 6,146 folks that we've lost. So just bear with me, and while I'm reading these, please understand wholeheartedly that we're not just going through this motion just to be going through the motion. I hate it like crazy, but at the same time, these people deserve our respect, our honor, and please share that in prayer for all these folks. The 6,024th death is a 58-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,025th death, an 83-year-old male from Hancock County. The 6,026th death, an 81-year-old male from Cabell County. The 6,027th death, an 81-year-old male from Clay County. The 6,028th death, a 74-year-old female from Jefferson County. The 6,029th death, a 58-year-old female from Lincoln County. The 6,030th death, a 66-year-old female from Monongalia County. The 6,031st death, an 87-year-old female from Grant County. The 6,032nd death, an 81-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,033rd death, a 62-year-old male from Greenbrier County. The 6,034th death, a 93-year-old male from Braxton County. The 6,035th death, a 76-year-old male from Mingo County. The 6,035th death, a 76-year-old male from Mingo County. The 6,036th death, an 87-year-old female from Wood County. The 6,037th death, a 65-year-old female from Marion County. The 6,038th death, a 55-year-old female from Jefferson County. The 6,039th death, an 82-year-old male from Wayne County. The 6,040th death, a 72-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,041st death, a 53-year-old female from Putnam County. The 6,042nd death, a 72-year-old female from Marshall County. The 6,043rd death, a 93-year-old male from Fayette County. The 6,044th death, a 69-year-old male from Monongalia County. The 6,045th death, an 82-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,046th death, a 58-year-old female from Gilmer County. The 6,047th death, a 66-year-old female from Boone County. The 6,048th death, a 91-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,049th death, a 92-year-old female from Barber County. The 6,050th death, a 91-year-old female from Randolph County. The 6,051st death, a 91-year-old male from Mercer County. The 6,052nd death, a 68-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,053rd death, an 84-year-old female from Roane County. The 6,054th death, a 97-year-old female from Brooke County. The 6,055th death, an 88-year-old female from Putnam County. The 6,056th death, a 73-year-old male from Putnam County. The 6,057th death, a 91-year-old male from Morgan County. The 6,058th death, a 71-year-old male from Morgan County. The 6,059th death, a 67-year-old male from Logan County. The 6,060th death, a 69-year-old female from Wyoming County. The 6,061st death, an 81-year-old female from Work County. The 6,062nd death, a 94-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,063rd death, a 68-year-old female from Wyoming County. The 6,064th death, a 71-year-old female from Wyoming County. The 6,065th death, an 81-year-old female from Hancock County. The 6,066th death, a 61-year-old female from McDowell County. The 6,067th death, a 79-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,068th death, a 70-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,069th death, an 81-year-old female from Mercer County. The 6,070th death is a 63-year-old female from Greenbrier County. The 6,071st death is a 47-year-old female from Work County. The 6,072nd death, a 63-year-old female from Jackson County. The 6,073rd death, a 70-year-old male from Lincoln County. The 6,074th death, an 84-year-old male from Wingo County. The 6,075th death, a 67-year-old female from Mercer County. The 6,076th death is a 73-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,077th death is an 85-year-old female from Putnam County. The 6,078th death is a 63-year-old female from Mercer County. The 6,079th death, an 84-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,080th death is a 54-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,081st death is an 89-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,082nd death is a 62-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,083rd death is a 62-year-old female from Mineral County. The 6,084th death is a 96-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,085th death is a 95-year-old female from Tyler County. The 6,086th death is a 77-year-old male from Berkeley County. The 6,087th death is an 83-year-old female from Boone County. The 6,088th death is an 82-year-old female from Marshall County. The 6,089th death is a 69-year-old female from Putnam County. The 6,090th death is a 72-year-old male from Upshur County, rather. The 6,091st death is a 54-year-old male from Mercer County. The 6,092nd death is a 94-year-old female from Wood County. The 6,093rd death is a 78-year-old male from Mercer County. The 6,094th death is an 82-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,095th death is a 71-year-old female from Brooke County. The 6,096th death is an 88-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,097th death is a 64-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,098th death is a 73-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,099th death is a 61-year-old male from Work County. The 6,100th death in West Virginia is an 88-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,101st death is a 45-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,102nd death is an 87-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,103rd death is an 87-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,100th and fourth death is a 50-year-old female from Boone County. The 6,105th death is a 79-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,106th death is a 75-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,107th death is an 84-year-old female from Clay County. This is terrible. I mean, that's just all there is to it. We're going through these names of people and or these great folks from West Virginia, and it's that have given us so much. It's unbelievable, and you got people out there that are really, really hurting, really, really sad, and it's just really, really bad. That's all there is to it. The 6,108th death is an 89-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 6,109th death is a 71-year-old male from McDowell County. The 6,110th death, a 36-year-old female from Mercer County. The 6,111th death, an 84-year-old female from Jackson County. The 6,112th death, a 53-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,113th death, a 60-year-old male from Raleigh County. The 6,114th death, a 67-year-old male from Lewis County. The 6,115th death, a 91-year-old male from Cabell County. The 6,116th death is an 81-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,117th death, an 85-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,118th death, a 75-year-old female from Hancock County. The 6,119th death, a 67-year-old female from Barber County. The 6,120th death, a 54-year-old female from Berkeley County. The 6,121st death, a 48-year-old male from Grant County. The 6,122nd death, a 62-year-old male from Taylor County. The 6,123rd death, a 66-year-old female from Randolph County. The 6,124th death, a 60-year-old male from Mingo County. The 6,125th death, a 77-year-old female from Logan County. The 6,126th death, an 86-year-old female from Greenbrier County. The 6,127th death of 65-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,128th death of 57-year-old male, the 6,128th death is a 57-year-old male from Mercer County. The 6,129th death is an 83-year-old male from Brooke County. The 6,130th death is a 65-year-old male from Boone County. The 6,131st death is a 92-year-old male from Raleigh County. The 6,132nd death is a 77-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,133rd death is an 84-year-old male from Taylor County. The 6,134th death is a 75-year-old male from Greenbrier County. The 6,135th death is a 66-year-old male from Nicholas County. The 6,136th death is an 86-year-old male from Ohio County. The 6,137th death is an 89-year-old female from Monongahela County. The 6,138th death is a 94-year-old male from Monongahela County. The 6,139th death is a 63-year-old female from Jackson County. The 6,140th death is a 52-year-old female from Brooke County. The 6,141st death is an 80-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,142nd death is an 81-year-old female from Wood County. The 6,143rd death is a 64-year-old male from Greenbrier County. The 6,144th death is an 82-year-old female from Wayne County. The 6,145th death is a 72-year-old female from Putnam County. In West Virginia now we've lost 6,146 deaths, and that death is a 78-year-old male from Mineral County. My. It's terrible. We've got a dashboard issue today, and some of the data has not been updated and everything. You know, there was a power outage at the data center yesterday, which has caused this delay in receiving our numbers and everything. So the total number of that we have up there, you know, as far as vaccine numbers and hospital numbers and stuff like that, has not been updated, you know, on our dashboard right now. We do have 753 people in the hospital, 193 in the ICU units, and 112 on ventilators. I've told you over and over about the antibodies. We had 2 that were discontinued by the CDC or FDA, but there are other treatments. There's a couple, you know, there's 2 different types, you know, of antibodies that we can give you, and we have them. They're in a little bit of a short supply. We keep pushing to get more and more and more in here, but if you get sick in any way, please get tested to where we can get ahead of this and maybe get you these antibodies and save your life. You know, from the standpoint of the Guard, you know, there's no way to thank them enough. 348 Guard members that are out there now, and they're deployed at 38 facilities and doing phenomenal work, and probably that number is even a little low. But we thank them and thank them from the bottom of our heart. You know, the Biden administration is offering every household in America 4 free test kits, and you can get them by going on our covidtest.gov line, and it'll give you instructions on how to get them. You know, you can also get free N95 masks. You can get 3 per person, and you can get those from the community health centers or our pharmacies. Just, you know, check that out and try to get those if you think you need those. Our booster shots, this is the #1 most important thing on my list and everything. The people that are fully vaccinated, we have got to get you to get the booster shot, especially people that are over the age of 50. We have now given in West Virginia 403,886 booster shots. That's nowhere close to the total number that we want to give, and we have got to just keep pouring it on that and pouring it on that and everything to where we can get those people across the finish line. The numbers are about the same, maybe a little teeny bit better. We've ticked up to 82.6% of the 50 and olders, and but the numbers are okay. We keep getting little by little by little better, but at the same time, we need to get better faster than what the numbers are showing right here. All the stuff on the COVID vaccine info lines up on the website, all the stuff about free testing is up there and everything. We encourage you in every way to get that free testing. Take advantage of that. We've got 159 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities. We don't have any outbreaks in our church community right now. We're down to 324 inmate cases and 6 staff cases at our corrections, and that's way, way, way down. And I salute again all the great work all those folks in corrections are doing and everything to take care of our inmates, take care of our brethren with all the staff that are there. So we appreciate you in every way. You know, I hope we're doing better at getting the word out and facilitating and doing everything we possibly can to get people across the finish line that are renting or the landlords. So please call us. Please call us and let's take advantage of those dollars and try to get you qualified. And if we can, we'll put some more money in your pocket. But please call us. From the standpoint of giving blood, I've said it 1,000,000 times that we need you to do that. We need you to step up. The Red Cross needs you really, really badly as they try to facilitate and do phenomenal stuff for West Virginians. I want to remind you again about this new program we have. It's called Jumpstart West Virginia Job Jumpstart Program. And with all that being said, you know, our unemployment numbers are great, lowest in history, hands down and everything, but we still are trying to pull more and more and more folks back into the workforce and everything. And there's some out there, and if we can cut them this check for $1,500, if they get a job and they stay on the job for 8 weeks or more, maybe that'll be the little bump that gets them across the finish line and keeps them in employment forever and ever, because that's what we want. We copied the program out of Oklahoma, and it was successful there. And we hope to goodness we're going to be able to get more and more and more people back into the workforce. One thing I get, you know, and I only, you know, I laugh about it to tell you the honest truth. I mean, there's this guy. His name's Marshall Wilson. I have no earthly clue what in the world he tries to do with his life. I mean, you know, it's up to him on what he wants to do. Surely, you know, that, you know, we want to be respectful of that, but he ran for governor and got a whopping little bit less than 1% of the vote, and I don't know if he continues to try to humor himself, but he came out and said that basically, you know, put out that I was going, gosh, this is unbelievable. You know, there's some crazy stuff that goes on here. I will promise you this, but this is top of the list, that I was going to change the rules to mandate vaccines and masks to West Virginians forever. And so please don't pay attention to the garbage. And you know, and where he got this, you know, he just cut and pasted and copied something out of the state of New York. One thing I'll promise you, and I'll promise you this for absolute certainty. One thing you can count on 1 billion times over, and that is just this. Do you really think Jim Justice is going to copy anything out of New York? I mean, for crying out loud. You just think about what goes on in New York. And absolutely, do you think we want any part of any of that in West Virginia? So Marshall, I wish you the best, brother, and you know, and you know, and I mean this. You know, I'm going to pray for you and hope that you find a course in life that will give you happiness and satisfaction and quit this craziness. That's all there is to it. But I can promise you that our Senate President Craig Blair and Speaker Hanshaw, there's no way that they'll even I mean, that they'll spend 1 ounce of thought about this. So just throw that in the trash can. One thing is really not so good, and in fact it's terrible, is we lost a county commissioner from Cabell County. Cabell County Commissioner Nancy Cartmill passed away at the age of 79. She joined the Cabell County Commission in 2003. Prior to that, she served as the mayor of Barboursville from 1993 to 2001. And there's no question whatsoever that this great lady loved her community, loved her family, loved all those around her, and she was a member of our Communities and Schools Advisory Council with the First Lady. We thank her so much for that, and I ask all, as I do so often, but I ask all West Virginians to join in prayer for a great, great, great lady that did a lot of great work in serving West Virginia, and also please keep in prayer all these great folks that we've lost, 6,146 folks. So that's all I got right now.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Well, good morning. In following up with what the governor said, we see that nationally we are in the midst of a reducing number of cases from the Omicron variant of COVID-19, of a reduction in the number of hospitalizations, but we are not seeing a reduction in deaths at this point. In fact, our death rate picked up again yesterday in our country, where we had over 3,000 people die with COVID-19, and that is more than we saw die in the 9/11 tragedy many years ago. And as we look at West Virginia, the governor just read, over 150 names of great West Virginians. And we recognize through this pandemic, and we recognize it immediately till today, that these deaths can largely be prevented by having people get fully vaccinated and boosted. And when you look across our country versus other countries that have comparable standards of livings and economies for their people, the differentiation is that we have vaccinated and boosted a much fewer number of our citizens than these other countries have. And that has translated to the fact that we are well on our way to 1 million deaths in our country, and certainly have over 6,100 deaths in West Virginia. And the governor reads these names every press brief. And so as we look for the next several weeks, we know that while our cases are reducing, our hospitalizations, although not as low as they were at our lowest, at our nadir, which happened right before the Delta surge of COVID-19, down to 52 people, we're still well over 750 people in our hospitals in West Virginia. We know that predictably our number of deaths is going to pick up over the next week to 2 to 3 weeks. And that's the reason why it's really important, as the governor has said every press brief, that people very much consider choosing to get boosted. And that is particularly true for West Virginians over 50 and for West Virginians over 65, because we know that the real impact of the boost related to the Omicron variant is the most beneficial in our older part of our population. So it's a real opportunity for us to prevent more tragedy in West Virginia. We have the solution, and we certainly hope that all of you who are eligible for the booster, who have gotten 2 doses of the vaccine, will choose today to go out to get the boost to protect yourself so that you don't enter the names that the governor reads at the beginning of the press briefs in the future. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Marsh. Next, we'll go to Secretary Bill Crouch with the DHHR.
Good morning, everyone. As the governor mentioned, our vendor yesterday had a power outage. This is the vendor who handles our electronic COVID laboratory results. This was a system-wide outage covering 13 states and territories with all of their vendors impacted by this. Power was restored around 5 o'clock yesterday, but there were intermittent problems throughout the day and throughout the night. As soon as we obtain that laboratory data from our vendor, we will update the dashboard. But for now, the dashboard is kept the way it was yesterday at the 10 o'clock update. So stay tuned. We'll update that as soon as possible. I want to make you aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. And finally, to Dr. Ainam Jad, our State Health Officer.
Good morning. Just want to give some good news. West Virginia did make it a priority for all our long-term care residents to have the COVID-19 vaccine. The CDC, the National Healthcare Safety Network, it is the nation's most widely used healthcare information tracking system. They do update that weekly. And we did have information that West Virginia is 13th in the nation. We have about 80.5% of our long-term care residents who are up to date with their boosters. So everyone in our long-term care facilities who are eligible for their boosters, 80% of them are boosted right now in our long-term care facilities. So that puts us at 13th in the nation right now. So that is good news. We do want to thank all the long-term care facilities, our Joint Interagency Task Force, and of course, everyone who does participate in giving out the vaccines. A lot of the family members often have to give consent for that. And we do want to thank everyone for those joint efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amjad. Retired Major General Jim Hoyer had a prior engagement and will rejoin us next week. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. My question is for Dr. Marsh. I think this has been asked before, but I was hoping you could remind us, how long does the immunity boost that folks receive from the booster shot last? Thank you.
Dr. Marsh, please.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Charles. Well, the boost lasts a good amount of time related to protection against severe illness, hospitalization, death. But we know that the absolute potency of the vaccines are dependent on the infectivity of the variant of the virus, and the Omicron variant is by far the most infectious form that we've seen. And we know after about 3 to 4 months after that booster dose, remember the booster we're talking about here are in people with normal immune systems where you've gotten the first and second dose either 21 days apart from Pfizer or 28 days apart from Moderna, and that 5 months after that you've gotten another dose, a booster dose. And we know after about 3 months or so from that booster dose, antibody levels, which are the part of the immune response that neutralizes, binds to, and blocks the virus from being able to get into our bodies very well, start to reduce. And in Israel, an additional booster, that fourth booster in people 60 years old and over, demonstrated a heightened amount of antibodies after that second booster shot, and also about a 3 to 4 times increased protection in severe illness hospitalization. But the good news is that the benefit of the boost still maintains the third shot in the series for most people. And in the US, we don't have the ability right now by FDA clearance to give that fourth dose, but the third dose still maintains. When you look at spreading of infection, we see a loss of potency where we go from about an 80% benefit early in the boost to maybe a 50% benefit after about 3 to 4 months. But when you look at protection against hospitalization and death, that stays up in the mid 80% range for hospitalization and hovering around 90% for death. So still really good data suggesting that a boost makes a big difference. And we know if you don't get a boost, just have 2 doses and you're older, that benefit falls really down significantly. So that's the reason why we're really trying to compel and help people choose to get a booster if they've been fully vaccinated and haven't been boosted yet.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next to Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Governor, I hope the service for your uncle went well. I've done eulogies for family members in the past, including my mom's. I know it can be difficult and tough, but all the best to you and your family with your loss. I have a question for Dr. Marsh. Doctor, what are your thoughts about, it looks like at least that many parts of the country, some even previously fairly conservative with the masks we're talking about, are doing away with mask mandates and getting back, I guess, into a normal flow of life. We just heard Kanawha County Schools a couple of days ago did away with its mask mandate. So do you think we're at a position in the pandemic, medically speaking, epidemic speaking, that that's a move that we can make safely as we continue down the path with this thing? Thank you.
Dr. Marsh, before you go, let me thank Kenny for his kind words about my uncle. unfortunately, I've had to give the eulogy, several different times, not lots and lots, but a few times, and I can tell you that it's really odd. Normally I can get through it okay, but yesterday it was really tough, and I really attribute that to just one thing. This man was, just think about it. He played basketball at Oceana High School, and then graduated from high school, and then immediately was right straight to World War II, and then came out of World War II, where he and two of his brothers were serving at the same time in the war. Now, and just think about it, and then came right out of there, and he became a coal miner, and was a coal miner his entire life. And when he retired from his coal mining profession and everything, he ran a food pantry for 39 years for West Virginians. Now, I'll tell you this, and I said this yesterday, I'll never be as good a man as he was. That's all there is to it. Somebody really, really special. So, Kenny, thanks a bunch, and I promise you it wasn't any fun yesterday, but I really appreciate you thinking about us. And from the standpoint of Dr. Marsh, talking about masks and schools and all that kind of stuff, I would be a real proponent of us moving forward without those crazy masks on our kids and everything. And, I still think that, that we need to wait on what's going to come out of the legislature. And absolutely right behind that, we also need to wait on the fact that there is some real value to the local control, but I wish to goodness we'd get those masks off our kids. But nevertheless, I don't know if that was all your question, but Dr. Marsh, please go ahead.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Kenny. I think the governor has said it well, Kenny. We know that the Omicron surge is still not absolutely done in West Virginia, and we still see the number of people dying every day be way too high. And we still see our hospital numbers be higher than we would like them, which are down close to zero for people with COVID-19. On the other hand, I think it's been the governor's policy and our state's policy not to mandate masking at any central level, but leave that up to local control so that the local communities can act in the best interests of their citizens, that would include their children. I think that as we go forward, we are at a fork in the road related to COVID-19. And if the virus continues as the Omicron variant, and with the amount of additional immunity that we have today, both from vaccination and boosters and native infection and recovery, then we may well be starting to see the beginning of the end of the pandemic, particularly because, as you suggest, people's attitudes and behaviors are much more accepting of the consequences of COVID-19 today than they had been early in the pandemic. On the other hand, this virus has been very challenging for us to navigate, and it's always turned left when we anticipated it would turn right. So it's also going to be important for us to keep a very watchful eye as a senior leadership team, and certainly with the governor, to make sure that the virus doesn't make a different turn where we'll have new challenges. So this is a really critical time, I think, for all of us as we assess what's going to happen next.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Next to Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Good afternoon, everyone, and let me also extend my sympathies to the governor's family on your loss. God bless you all. Governor, I do have a non-COVID related question today. I'm working on a profile for Black History Month, and you, of course, appointed Senator Owens Brown to his seat in the state Senate, becoming the first African-American male to take a seat in our state Senate. Why did you appoint him? What did you like about him? What do you think his good qualities are? And do you also hope this becomes part of your legacy that you appointed the first African-American male to the state Senate?
Well, Mark, here's just all there is to it. And again, thank you for your kind words about, my uncle. But here's just all there is to it. I appointed this gentleman because he was exactly what I'm talking about my uncle yesterday. A good man, a rock solid, really good man. And I've had the opportunity to be around him and be around him not tons, but enough that absolutely you can see his soul and you can see what an incredible, impressive gentleman he is. So if it just happens that it goes down in my legacy that I was able to appoint, to the Senate, the first African American male into our Senate and everything, yes, sir. I'm absolutely proud of that. But with all of that and everything, I don't make appointments on the color of people's skin. I don't make appointments, on the fact that, that they're this or that and everything. I try to pick the very, very best people for West Virginia. And this man is the best man that I could have picked. I'm really proud of him.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next to Paul Mullen with WCBC.
Good morning, Governor. Good morning, panel. Governor, some very emotional testimony during the House debate on the abortion bill. I'd like to have your thoughts on that bill, which way you may be leaning. And I know it was an overwhelming vote. How does that testimony, though, register with you? Thank you.
Well, Paul, I would say let's just wait until it makes its way to me, but you can rest assured wholeheartedly I stand rock solid for life. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to waver in any way. And let's just wait just a little while before I weigh in with a strong opinion. But, I'm proud of what we're doing, and I'm proud that we're standing for life.
All right, thanks, Paul. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay. Dr. Amjad reported something that I didn't know, but it's important stuff. And again, this is not tooting my horn, not tooting Dr. Amjad's horn. It's tooting West Virginia's horn. And that's how we should look at it. We should look at it that way across our media. We should look at it that way across all government officials and the people of West Virginia. In our long-term care facilities, she said that those folks that are boosted, the rate is at 80.5%, and that ranks us 13th in the nation. Now, we want to be first, but absolutely in West Virginia, where we know you got a lot of people that listen a lot of times to the social media stuff and everything where they say, there's tracers in this vaccine. And if you take this vaccine, they're going to know where you're at and this and that, and crazy stuff that social media bombards us with. And to be perfectly honest, in West Virginia, we fall victim to that a lot, don't we? But for us in West Virginia, to have people boosted at a rate of 13th in the nation, that's pretty daggum good. So let's just keep it up, and we'll keep working and try to get to first. But 13th in West Virginia, with the bombardment of all these just, absolute silly things that people post on social media that scares people. And then they develop hesitancy. And then they say, well, I got a lot going on in my life. I'm going to pass on that booster thing right now. And then before you know it, it ends up really bad. So I'm really proud of these folks. And I know a lot of people put in a lot of the licks, to get our long-term care folks, vaccinated and those that are working to get that done and achieving that, I've always said over and over, don't confuse effort with accomplishment. You're accomplishing. So good job. Now, Dr. Marsh, I think, was talking about the third shot and the value of the third shot, which is your booster, and what a profound impact it has on lessening your probability of death or lessening your probability of hospitalization. Now remember, you're talking to a guy right here that's surely the ripe age of a problem. And I'm surely carrying around a pound or two that I shouldn't be carrying around. And all of a sudden, boom, I've got COVID. Now, I got pretty daggum sick. And in fact, for a couple days, it was really sick. Not good at all. Now, with all of that, though, the whole time, I really felt like, first and foremost, prayers to God above, that everything was going to be okay. But I felt like, I'd been vaccinated and I had been boosted. And I thought this would pass, and it did. I didn't end up in the hospital, and I surely didn't end up with dire circumstances beyond that. But with all of that being, absolutely, I believe without question, those vaccines and that booster shot kept a really, really potential bad outcome from happening to me. So, Dr. Marsh tells you how much it improves your probability of good stuff versus bad stuff with the third shot, which is your booster. Now, from the standpoint of what West Virginia is trying to do, for those folks that are over the age of 50, and I think that's the way we sent it up, we're trying to follow advice from Israel because they have so much good advice in regard to the fourth shot. The fourth shot, we tried to get permission on our elderly that had been boosted to give them the fourth shot. We haven't gotten that yet, but we're going to still keep trying. Because the information on the fourth shot shows a prolonged effectiveness that's really good. So the third shot makes you a whole lot better. The fourth shot would make you even better. But absolutely, if you are just vaccinated, well, first of all, go back. If you're not vaccinated at all, you're probably making a big mistake. We're going to be respectful of your wishes. But absolutely, we're probably going to tell you that that's not probably, you're probably making a mistake. But if you've chosen to be vaccinated and you don't have your booster shot, that's not good. That's just plain not good. So nevertheless, good news from Dr. Amjad. I appreciate Dr. Marsh and all his great stuff, and conveying stuff. Dashboard went down a little while. Those kind of things happen. We appreciate, Secretary Krause and General Hoyer, all these experts that come on and talk to you all the time. And let's just keep pulling the rope together, West Virginia. We're getting through this. We hate like crazy these folks that we're losing, but at the same time, we got to just keep going north. That's all there is to it. We just got to keep pulling that rope together, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Thank you so much.
Please be in order. Those persons not having privileges of the floor will please vacate the chamber. All members and guests in the galleries today will please rise for the posting of the colors by the Corrections Color Guard.
Post the colors. Ready. Post. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Post.
If all members and guests will please remain standing, we'll be led in prayer today by Chaplain David Snyder from the Printytown Correctional Facility.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today. We're thankful for the love, mercy, and grace that you've extended to us. We're thankful that we're citizens of this great country, the United States of America. We're thankful that we're citizens of this great state of West Virginia. Lord, your word says that we should pray for our leaders, and this is what we're doing today. We just ask you, Lord, that you'll be with them, because the men and women of this house will make many important decisions in this session. And Lord, during that time, they'll have to consider many issues that a lot of us citizens really know nothing about. But Lord, along those lines, we're asking you that you give them knowledge considering all those issues, and give them wisdom to make decisions that will advance the state of West Virginia and that will enhance the lives of our citizens. And Lord, we believe you today that you are going to help them. And ahead of time, Lord, we thank you for all the help that you give. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. And Lord, we give you all the honor and glory for everything that is accomplished. And all of us today say, amen.
If all members and guests will remain standing, we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by the gentleman of the 55th, Douglas Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always such a joyful moment to see the colors presented as they were this morning. Please join me in recognizing our flag, reciting the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members and guests may be seated. Reading of the Journal.
Journal of the House of Delegates, Wednesday, February 16th, 2022.
Gentleman 30th, Douglas Bates.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that further reading of the journal be dispensed with and it be approved as having been read.
The gentleman 30th asks unanimous consent that the further reading of the journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as having been read. Are there objections? There are no objections. Lady from the 49th for an update on the calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HJR 102 on third reading special calendar was moved to House calendar. Committee substitute for House Bill 2910 and House Bill 4331 on second reading special calendar were moved to the House calendar. House Bill 4627 on first reading special calendar was moved to House calendar. House Bill 4568 second reading House calendar was moved to special calendar, and House Bill 4264 on first reading House calendar was moved to special calendar.
Introductions. Lady from the 49th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our doctor of the day, I don't know if she's made it here yet, is Joanna Bailey of Pineville, West Virginia. Oh, she has? Okay, make her welcome.
The gentleman, the 28th, Doug Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From James Monroe High School in wonderful Monroe County, we have 3 pages today. I'd like to introduce Breeley Thomas, Cameron Thomas, and Hannah Jewell. And they are accompanied here today by the mother of Stacy Jewell, or mother of the Hannah Jewell, Stacy Jewell, and the grandmother, Sherry Jewell. If you all would stand and we'll make you welcome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman 7th, Doug Barnhart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning. Paging with us today from Pleasants County Middle School, we have Riley Renner, and she is accompanied today by her dad, Gavin Renner, up in the gallery, and I would ask the House to please make them feel welcome.
The gentleman, the 39th, Doug Farrell.
Yes, joining us today is a page here on the floor, straight out of Granada Hill Subdivision, one of my neighbors, Miss Amber Elmore. She's an 8th grade student at Sissonville Middle School. She's a 3-sport athlete, a 4.0 student. She's actually being watched today. Her mother is a travel chaplain. She's working in a hospital in Tampa, Florida, so she's watching with us today, this morning. And her father, who is in, I think, the West Gallery up here, is a small business owner in West Virginia and a volunteer firefighter on the System Volunteer Fire Department. So if you'll give them a warm welcome this morning.
Gentleman to 53rd, Delegate Jennings.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to introduce to you a good friend of mine. He's one of my constituents from Tucker County. He's also a logger, and I love loggers. They're just good people. With Bill Robinson, stand, and would you all make him feel welcome?
Gentleman to 13th, Delegate Pinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joining us from Mason County and Point Pleasant High School, we have some friends with the YLA today. And as I call their name, if they would please stand, I'd like to introduce each of them. We have Zara Russell, Layla Warner, Kaylee Barger, Ian Hess, Selena Brown, Caitlin Durst, Shelby Plants, Olivia Hanna, J.B. Cantley, Lily Kemp, and dedicated teacher, YLA leader, Miss Mary Farley, who's brought them to Charleston. If the House would please join me in making them feel welcome today.
Gentleman to 44th, Delegate Hanna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also have some YLA guests here today from Webster County High School. If they would stand when I call their name and remain standing. Haley Lamb, Addison Hamrick, Mallory Snyder, Cheyenne Brown, Caden Hess, Ezekiel Gray, and their chaperones Eric Lamb and Robin and Mark Romano. If the House would please make them feel welcome.
Lady in 24th, Delegate Mazzocchi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am tickled to have some pages here today from Logan County. And so I'm speaking for Delegate Jordan Bridges and me, that we have Cortland Dean, Mara Winhaf, Daff, Rayleigh Sipple, and the mom from Rayleigh is upstairs there in the balcony, and she is, her name is Angie Sipple. I'm so tickled to have them all here, and they are already working. Thank you.
Gentleman from 23rd, Delegate Holstein.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we have 2 pages from Boone County with us. We have Victoria Kellyone, and she's chaperoned by her mother, Teresa Kellyone, who's in the balconies, and Lauren Barnett, whose mother's with her, Linda Barnett from Sherman High School, and they're joining us today, so if you two would please stand. The House will make them welcome. Thank you.
Gentleman the 2nd, Delegate DeSerio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joining us today in the South Gallery, we have some of my brothers, members of Local 466 in Charleston, West Virginia, of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. If the House would join me in helping them make me feel welcome. Make them feel welcome. Somebody feel welcome.
Gentleman the 35th, Douglas Scaff.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have a couple pages with us today from Braxton County High School. I'd like to introduce on behalf of my colleague Brent Boggs, who couldn't be here today. We have Xander Dennison and Wyatt Dennison and Alexander Dennison. You guys here today? We see you guys. And their parents. I've got Father Scott Dennison is escorted by Gene Boggs. Please stand up. And let's make them all feel welcome. Thank you for being here.
Further introductions? Standing committee reports.
Originating in the Committee on Education and reported with the recommendation that it do pass is House Bill 4019 relating to deadlines for public charter schools.
Report to be received.
originating in the Committee on Education and reported with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance, is House Bill 4021, relating to the Medical Student Loan Program.
That report will be received. The bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Fire Departments and Emergency Medical Services has had under consideration House Bill 4294, providing income tax credit for first responders, and reports the same back with recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Fire Departments and Emergency Medical Services has had under consideration House Bill 4608 to require the State Fire Commission to propose minimum standards for persons to be certified as probationary status volunteer firefighters, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
Your Committee on Fire Departments and Emergency Medical Services has had under consideration House Bill 2292, including 3 types of cancer for which rebuttable presumption of injury from employment exists for firefighters, and reports the same back with recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Your Committee on Government Organization has had under consideration House Bill 3223, prohibits state, county, and municipal governments from dedicating or naming any public structure for a public official who is holding office at that time, and reports back to committee substitute therefore with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass.
That report will be received.
Your Committee on Government Organization has had under consideration House Bill 4511 to make numerous amendments to modernize and increase efficiencies in the administration of the West Virginia Unclaimed Property Act, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Your Committee on Government Organization has had under consideration House Bill 4463 to increase the compensation members of the State Athletic Commission may receive for their attendance and participation in the Commission's public meetings, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Government Organization has had under consideration House Bill 4606, authorizing programs to assist at-risk veterans and their families with existing resources to combat suicide, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass.
That report will be received.
Your Committee on Government Organization has had under consideration House Bill 4644, prohibiting the restriction, regulation, use, or administration of lawn care and pest care products, and reports back to committee substitute therefore with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass.
That report will be received.
Your Committee on Finance has had under consideration House Bill 4566, creating the Economic Enhancement Grant Fund, and reports the same back with the title amendment with the recommendation that it do pass as amended.
That report will be received.
Your Committee on Finance has had under consideration House Bill 4591, relating to accelerating the conversion of the state excise tax on the privilege of transferring real property into a county excise tax, and House Bill 4604, relating to abolishing the Workforce Development Initiative Program Advisory Council, and reports the same back with the recommendation that they each do pass.
That report will be received.
Your Committee on Finance has had under consideration House Bill 2096, reinstating the Film Investment Tax Credit, and House Bill 4567, relating to business and occupation or privilege tax, and reports back committee substitutes therefore with the recommendation that the committee substitutes each do pass.
That report will be received.
Your Committee on Education has had under consideration House Bill 2753, provide programs to educate senior citizens, House Bill 4102, to allow money paid to state employees to go to their estate if they pass away before their retirement date, House Bill 4415, establishing the Katherine Johnson Academy, House Bill 4579, relating to public school personnel, and House Bill 4602 relating to student suicide prevention, and reports the same back with amendment with recommendation that they each do pass as amended, but that they first be referred to the Committee on Finance.
That report will be received. Those bills will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Political Subdivisions has had under consideration House Bill 2686, establishing a system to remediate fiscal emergencies of local governments, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Political Subdivisions has had under consideration House Bill 2751, modernize the process for dissolution of municipal corporations in this state, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Your Committee on Political Subdivisions has had under consideration House Bill 4516 to require medication-assisted treatment programs to have written policies concerning community relations, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Health and Human Resources.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Health and Human Resources.
Your Committee on Political Subdivisions has had under consideration House Bill 2324 relating to charging fees for municipal services, and House Bill 4440 bans sanctuary cities in West Virginia, and reports the same back with amendment with recommendation that they each do pass as amended, but that they first be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
That report will be received and both bills will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Your Committee on Prevention and Treatment of Substance Abuse has had under consideration committee substitute for Senate Bill 431 relating generally to Uniform Controlled Substances Act, and reports the same back with recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Your Committee on Prevention and Treatment of Substance Abuse has had under consideration committee substitute for Senate Bill 419, establishing pilot project to evaluate impact of certain post-substance use disorder residential treatments, and reports the same back with the recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Health and Human Resources.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Health and Human Resources.
Your Committee on Prevention and Treatment of Substance Abuse has had under consideration House Bill 4457, providing tax credits for hiring those in recovery for substance abuse, and reports the same back with recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance.
The report will be received and that bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration House Bill 4441. The purpose of this bill is to create a Class M air rifle stamp which permits a hunter to hunt big game with an air rifle as otherwise permitted by law, and reports the same back with amendment with the recommendation that it do pass as amended, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
Your Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration House Bill 4073, permit lifetime hunting and fishing license for volunteer firefighters with 5 years of service, and reports the same back with amendment with recommendation that it do pass as amended, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration House Bill 4408 relating to contracts for construction of recreational facilities in state parks and forests, and reports the same back with recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
Your Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration House Bill 4570 to allow veterinary telehealth in West Virginia with out-of-state providers, and reports the same back with amendment with the recommendation that it do pass as amended, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
Your Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration House Bill 2819, exempting from the sales tax all-terrain vehicles and utility terrain vehicles used as farm equipment, and reports the same back with recommendation that it do pass, but that it first be referred to the Committee on Finance.
That report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Joint Committee on Enrolled Bills has examined, found truly enrolled, and on the 16th day of February 2022 presented to His Excellency the Governor for his action the following bills signed by the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Delegates. Committee substitute for Senate Bill 279, authorizing DEP to promulgate legislative rules. Senate Bill 450, updating definitions of West Virginia Personal Income Tax Act. And Senate Bill 451, updating definitions of West Virginia Corporate Net Income Tax Act.
That report will be received.
Your Committee on Rules has had under consideration House Concurrent Resolution 35, David Allen Drake Sr. Memorial Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 45, Specialist for Dennis Harvey Roberts Bridge, McDowell County. House Concurrent Resolution 54, Mayor George Karros Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 62, Raymond Gerald Jr. Memorial Highway. House Concurrent Resolution 63, Master Sergeant Donald Lewis Cohen Memorial Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 64, Robin W. Ames Memorial Road. House Concurrent Resolution 65, Jesse Alexander Jennings Memorial Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 70, Calvin Hansbrough Shiflett Memorial Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 71, North Branch of Short Creek, White Angel Falls. House Concurrent Resolution 72, Dana Von Perkins Memorial Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 73, Halstead Brothers World War II Veterans Memorial Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 74, Judge William Les Fury Bridge. House Concurrent Resolution 75, Pastor Glenn F. Lowe Memorial Bridge. And House Concurrent Resolution 76, U.S. Navy Boatswain's Mate First Class Ferris Burton Memorial Bridge. And reports the same back with the recommendation that they each be adopted.
That report will be received. Further standing committee reports, select committee reports, executive messages.
A communication from His Excellency the Governor advises that on February 16, 2022, he approved House Bill 4301, Senate Bill 435, Senate Bill 437, and Senate Bill 449.
That message will be received. Senate messages.
The Clerk of the Senate announces that the Senate has passed the following bills. Committee substitute for Senate Bill 86, creating criminal offense of sexual extortion.
The message will be received and that bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 146, relating to interpretations of school laws.
That message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 415, capping severance tax collections in general revenue at specified percentage.
That message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Senate Bill 442, relating to West Virginia Public Employee Retirement System.
That message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Pensions and Retirement, then the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 443, including police and firefighter as electors of trustees for certain pension funds.
That message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Pensions and Retirement, then the Committee on Finance.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 524, placing duties and functions of certain boards and commissions under Department of Arts, Culture, and History.
That message will be received and that bill will be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
Senate Bill 542, transferring Broadband Enhancement Council from Department of Commerce to Department of Economic Development.
The message will be received and that bill will be referred to the Committee on Government Organization.
Senate Bill 570, establishing training for law enforcement in handling individuals with Alzheimer's and dementias.
That message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Senate Bill 591, relating to process for filling vacancies in state legislature.
That message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary. Are there further Senate messages? If not, resolutions.
House Resolution 15, amend House Rules 94 and 94B to allow unlimited joint sponsors and requests to be made through the delegate console.
Laid in the 49th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that the further reading of resolutions introduced be dispensed with, and that each resolution be considered as formally introduced and referred to the appropriate committees as indicated on the delegate console system.
Item the 49th, ask unanimous consent that the further reading of resolutions introduced be dispensed with, and that each resolution be considered as having been formally introduced and referred to the appropriate committees as indicated on the delegate console system. Are there objections? There are no objections. Petitions? Motions? Bills introduced? Unfinished business. Bills on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4025, providing exemption to severance tax for severing rare earth elements and other critical minerals.
Are there objections to having this bill explained in lieu of having it read? If not, gentleman to 64th to explain the bill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of this bill is to encourage economic development regarding rare earth elements and critical minerals by providing temporary severance tax relief. The bill exempts all severance taxation for 5 years, beginning July 1, 2022, for severing rare earth elements and critical minerals. The section also defines rare earth elements and critical minerals. The definitions came from the recent U.S. Department of Interior report and from the periodic table of elements. That's the bill. I urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Lady from the 4th, Doggett Zukoff, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the chairman yield for a few questions, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. What will the severance tax be on rare earth minerals once this exception passed?
That could be a determination from this body. It could be 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%, whatever this body agrees to.
So we're making an exception for something that doesn't have a tax rate at this time?
That's right. It's not being severed currently.
Okay. Can you, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
For new economic development.
Okay. How much possible money could there be?
Well, if we look at the fiscal notes with the NGLs, they're saying roughly 70 million, and assuming 5%, it could be more. It's unknown.
That's 70 million over 5 years?
No, I believe that's 70 million in severance tax off of NGL, natural gas liquid products. So right now, I mean, I don't have any available data because nobody.
Well, those aren't rare earth minerals, though.
You're right, and I did not claim that. You're right.
Okay, I was just trying to.
You had asked me for an unknown figure. I really do not know.
Okay, and is it true that the majority of what I've understood from Judiciary Committee having this bill is that
it's a different bill.
Oh.
This bill went through Energy and Finance.
Okay. Well, no. Well, it might be a different bill, but we talked about this. The rare earth minerals are going to be, are more likely to be in things like slurry ponds from coal mines, waters within coal mine, because of coal mine activity. So would it be fair to say that the people who would be mining these rare earth minerals will be the coal companies?
I can't make that claim. I do not know.
Okay. All right. I just was curious. Thank you very much for answering my questions.
Question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Lady from the 24th, I got Mazaki. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There are 94 ayes, 4 noes, and 2 members absent. A majority of members voting in the affirmative. The chair declares that bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4025, providing exemption to severance tax for severing rare earth elements and other critical minerals.
Are there amendments to the title? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4329 to clarify the definition of an interested person for purposes of the West Virginia Small Estate Act.
Are there objections to having this bill explained in lieu of having it read? If not, the gentleman, the 32nd, Doggett Fast, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill updates the definition of a person authorized to distribute to a decedent spouse assets valued at $5,000 or less. This bill adds the definition of interested person in the Small Estates Act and that's an act that we passed last session. It clarifies a definition of small estate and adds a provision that small estate does not include a probate estate in which a decedent's will provides for real estate devised to be sold, and adds a clause providing a process by which small estate real estate may be sold for payment of debts when the small assets are insufficient thereof. That is a summary, Mr. Speaker. I'd be glad to answer any questions. Urge passage.
Question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There were 98 ayes, 0 nays, and 2 members absent. A majority of members voting in the affirmative. The chair declares that bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4329 to clarify the definition of an interested person for purposes of the West Virginia Small Estate Act.
Are there amendments to the title? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4562 relating generally to the suspension and dismissal of school personnel by board and the appeals process.
Are there objections to having this bill explained in lieu of having it read? No objections are heard. Adjournment 35th to explain the bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The committee substitute for House Bill 4562 provides when an employee becomes the subject of a fact-finding investigation involving alleged conduct that jeopardizes the health, safety, or welfare of students, a Board of Education is required to either suspend, place on administrative leave, or reassign the employees to duties that do not involve direct interaction with pupils. If an employee is charged with either a felony, a misdemeanor that has a nexus to the employee's work duties, or of child abuse, the board is required to either suspend the employee, place the employee on administrative leave, or reassign the employee to duties that do not involve direct interaction with pupils. And third, school principals are required to report to the county superintendent any employee conduct that allegedly jeopardizes the health, safety, or welfare of students within 24 hours of the allegations. Mr. Speaker, that's a summarization of the bill. I urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Chairman of the 43rd, Douglas Thompson, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the chairman yield?
Yes.
So the way I'm looking at this, I think I understand the intent, and we definitely need to protect kids and make sure they're safe in a safe environment. My question is, it says upon the commencement of any fact-finding investigation, would that be a situation or a scenario where I'm teaching about a concept that might be offensive to some people, say the Civil Rights era, and that is considered by that student or that student's parents as an issue that's harmful to that student? Would that be a violation?
As the bill reads, it is upon the commencement of a fact-finding investigation. So the body that initiates that fact-finding initiation, or the initiation of that fact-finding, yes, it would occur upon the commencement of that investigation.
So I would be put out of the classroom because of a student making a complaint or a parent making a complaint that basically revolves around me teaching a divisive concept or something that they feel is emotionally damaging to them, and I could be put out of the classroom?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Well, because are you stipulating that a fact-finding investigation has commenced?
Yes, the complaint has been lodged, made, and so now they're instigating the fact-finding investigation.
Have you jeopardized the health, safety, and welfare of the student's learning environment?
What is welfare? If a person...
That's not a determination for the legislature. That would be a determination for the entity that governs conduct.
So wouldn't that be open to interpretation if a parent felt that what I was teaching was jeopardizing their emotional welfare, and so a commencement of fact-finding investigation would begin?
My reading of the bill is that parents do not commence fact-finding investigations.
So that would be commenced by the administrator of the school?
It would be by the board, the local board, or the DHHR.
Solely the Board of Education, not like an administrator?
I mean, the administrator might be involved in it, but I mean, as it says in here, it would either be by the board or by the Department of Health and Human Resources, or the police.
Okay. Thank you for yielding. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There were 94 ayes, 4 noes, and 2 members absent. A majority of members voting in the affirmative. The chair declares that bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4562, relating generally to the suspension and dismissal of school personnel by board and the appeals process.
Are there amendments to the title? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
House Bill 4578, relating to authorizing the superintendent of the state police to administer the Handle with Care program.
Are there objections to having this bill explained in lieu of having it read? There are no objections. The gentleman to 35th to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 4578 ensures that the West Virginia State Police will oversee and administer the state's Handle with Care program through its Center for Children's Justice. It requires that the West Virginia State Police Superintendent direct and oversee the program and employ the persons necessary to administer the program. Also to establish and coordinate education and training for law enforcement and other stakeholders, and also to apply for grant funding for the program. And finally, to accept and expend funds from any source to accomplish the mission of the program. And third, it clarifies that state funds will not be appropriated to accomplish the purposes of this bill. Mr. Speaker, I urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There were 96 ayes, 0 nays, and 4 members absent. A majority of members voting in the affirmative. The chair declares that bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
House Bill 4578, relating to authorizing the superintendent of the state police to administer the Handle with Care program.
Are there amendments to the title? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Are there other bills on third reading? If not, bills on second reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 445, modifying police and firemen's pension plans for trustees.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4077, provide certain classes of property protections from creditor collections.
Are there amendments?
Delegates Westfall and Williams move to amend the bill on
Gentleman 12th, Delegate Westfall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, House Bill 4077 is dealing with protection from creditors. And what my amendment does, it adds also protection from creditors when if you're involved in a bankruptcy and you have life insurance. Currently in West Virginia, if you have a life policy and you die and you're involved in a bankruptcy, your beneficiaries, be your spouse, your children, your disabled children, whoever, only get $8,000 of that life policy. The rest of that money, if it's $100,000 or whatever, goes to the the bankruptcy courts. If there's anything left, it comes back to the beneficiaries. What my amendment does, like a lot of states around us, there's 25 states, including every state around us, says if you have life insurance, you're involved in the bankruptcy, it goes to where you want it to go. It goes to your beneficiaries, which will be your children, your spouse, your mom, dad, whoever it may be. So that's amendment. I'll take any questions, and I request it right to close.
Question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. Gentleman, 32nd, Douglas Fast is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given the fact that the bill itself deals with collection, judgments, and garnishment for consumer credit or installment obligations under Chapter 46A of the Code versus this proposed amendment is under Chapter 38, bankruptcy exemptions of the Code, I ask, is this amendment germane?
Well, if he's going up there, I'm going up there.
License plate.
The chair will take the inquiry by the gentleman at 32nd as a point of order, and the chair will sustain the point of order that the amendment does not affect even the same chapter of the bill, and therefore the chair will rule the amendment is not germane to the bill at this time. Bill will be advanced to third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4141, authorizing the Governor's Committee on Crime, Delinquency, and Corrections to promulgate a legislative rule relating to law enforcement training and certification standards.
Bill will be advanced. Are there other amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4242, authorizing the Division of Labor to promulgate a legislative rule relating to child labor.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4314 excludes solicitor from the definition of investment advisor.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4338, reducing annual permit fee for each video lottery terminal owned or leased by a limited video lottery licensee.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4340, relating to maximizing the opportunity to recover anatomical gifts for the purpose of transplantation, therapy, research, or education.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4406 to establish the West Virginia Military Hall of Fame.
Are there amendments?
Delegate Mant moves to amend the bill on page 1, section 1, line 2, by striking out the word and inserting in lieu thereof the word or, and on page 1, section 1, line 3, by striking out the words valor for.
Question before the House is the adoption of the amendment just read by the clerk. Is there debate on the amendment? Gentleman 16th, Delegate Mance, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In speaking with Secretary Diaz, the only changes that are made in there are a little bit of technical cleanup. It doesn't affect the bill, and that's all I have to say on that, and I recommend passage, please.
Gentleman 29th, Delegate Steele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In looking at the impact of this amendment, and one of the things that, to explain a little bit about the purpose of the bill, as it's written right now, the Secretary shall create a West Virginia Military Hall of Fame with a mission to honor veterans of West Virginia who have distinguished themselves on the field of battle and for such actions have received Purple Hearts or awards for valor for a specific act of heroism. Now, the word valor here is not just a term of art. It's not just it's something. It's not an alliteration of sorts. It's an actual technical term when it comes to military decoration. If you'll go down to B, medals included under this code are Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Navy Cross, Air Force Cross, Silver Star, Distinguished Flying Cross, Bronze Star with V device, that's a valor, Air Medal with V device, Commendation Medal with V device, Achievement Medal with V device, and the Purple Heart. Those are all what we call valor awards. They have to be given for gallantry and valor in battle. You can get a Bronze Star by being attached to a unit that's given a Bronze Star, but the Bronze Star with a V on it is an actual valor award that you've gotten for conspicuous gallantry of some sort. And of course, there are different requirements for all those medals listed there. If we remove the words valor for, we actually create a little bit of confusion, because if somebody goes back and is looking at the legislative history of this bill and trying to argue for a certain person to get into the Military Hall of Fame, it's going to be confusing to see that there was a floor amendment to take the word valor out when the original purpose of the bill was to create a Hall of Fame that included service members that got awards for valor. And I believe in talking to the sponsors of the bill and the individuals that would be applying to go into this. Congressional Medal of Honor recipient Woody Williams was in committee and has been trying to get us to get this done for a long time. It's not to say that we don't want to honor all veterans, but a particular Hall of Fame, I believe the intent of the drafters of this bill was to limit it to those individuals receiving a Valor Award. And for that reason, I urge rejection of the amendment.
Question again is on the adoption of the amendment. Is there debate on the amendment? Gentleman the 10th, Delegate Conley is recognized.
As the lead sponsor on this, and I will say in all transparency that I was asked yesterday late about this amendment and just ran out of time, and I did ask Delegate Mant to do that for me this morning, and I certainly don't want to put him in a bad spot. But after hearing what Chairman Steele said, I think I concur that we probably would be better off to leave this as it was originally and not accept this amendment. And again, I apologize to Delegate Mant because he did that on my request, but in hearing Delegate Steele, I concur with him.
Gentleman 28, Delegate Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would be in total agreement with the previous speaker and with the chairman of GovOrg. This is a good bill the way it read coming out of GovOrg. The change would probably water it down just a little bit, and I don't think we need to do that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question again is on the adoption of the amendment. Is there further debate on the amendment? If not, the chair recognizes the gentleman, the 16th, Delegate Mant, to close debate on the amendment. If not, the question then is, shall the amendment be adopted? Those in favor of adoption of the amendment will please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. Okay, the noes have it. Chair declares that amendment lost. Are there further amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced to third reading. Next bill on second reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4430 relating to definitions of base salary and overtime for police and firemen pensions.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4433, providing that retirement benefits are not subject to execution.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4462, relating to deferred retirement option plan evaluations.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4568, to allow phased rehabilitations of certified historic structures.
Are there amendments?
Delegate Householder moves to amend the bill.
Gentleman 64th, Delegate Householder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this amendment is offered to address the concerns of the State Tax Department expressed to us after the bill left the Finance Committee. The Tax Department was concerned that as the bill was written, if they had to recapture any part of the tax credit because a taxpayer failed to complete a project, then the State Tax Department would have difficulty doing so if the tax credit were sold to a third party. So this amendment makes clear that the tax recapture applies not only to the project developer, but also to anyone who bought the tax credit from the project developer. That's the amendment, and I urge adoption.
The question for the House is the adoption of the amendment. Is there debate on the amendment? If not, those in favor of adoption of the amendment will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. Chair declares that amendment adopted. Are there further amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced to third reading. Next bill on second reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4583, clarifying the definition of incapacity so that incarceration in the penal system or detention outside of the United States may not be inferred as resulting in a lack of capacity to execute a power of attorney.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced. Are there other bills on second reading? If not, bills on first reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 2798, relating to requiring the Health Department to mandate mucopolysaccharidosis type 1 test for newborn babies to be known as MB's Law.
The bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4264, change name of Glenville State College to Glenville State University.
Lady in the 49th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to postpone action one day.
Lady in the 49th asks unanimous consent to postpone action one day on House Bill 4264. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Action will be postponed one day. Next bill on first reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4348, relating to pharmacy technicians.
The bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4488, relating to coal mining and changing fees for permitting actions.
The bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4559, providing for legislative rulemaking relating to the disposition of unidentified and unclaimed remains in the possession of the Chief Medical Examiner.
The bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4585, relating to controlled substances monitoring and removing a dispensing prohibition.
The bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4596, relating generally to additional persons qualifying for provisions of the Law Enforcement Officers Safety Act.
The bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4631, establishing a bone marrow and peripheral blood stem donation awareness program.
The bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4649, transferring the operations of the West Virginia Children's Health Insurance Program to the Bureau for Medical Services.
The bill will be advanced. Are there further bills on first reading? If not, leaves of absence. Lady from the 49th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for our colleagues, Delegates Boggs and Walmsley.
Are there objections to leaves being granted? No objections are heard. Leaves of absence shall be granted. Introductions. Introductions. Miscellaneous business. Lady from the 49th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move subject to announcements. The House stand in recess until Friday the 18th. I move subject to announcements. The House adjourn until Friday at 11.
Are there announcements? Lady of the 49th. Gentleman of the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Finance will meet today at 3 p.m. in the House Finance Committee room. The agenda is posted. Thank you, sir.
Gentleman of the 32nd, Doug Fast.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Two things, and forgive me if I'm out of order, but I would ask unanimous consent that the comments by members of the Lady of the 24th be reported in the appendix of the journal, that were made yesterday, February 16th.
Are there objections? No objections are heard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. By way of announcement, your Committee on Judiciary will meet today at 3 p.m. in the House Judiciary Committee room. The agenda is posted. The Republicans will caucus at 2:45 p.m. in the chairman's office. Further, the Committee on Judiciary will meet tomorrow, Friday, February 18 at 1 p.m. in the House Judiciary Committee room. The agenda will be posted. And we will caucus at 12:45 p.m. tomorrow. The Republicans will. I'm finished.
Won't you do that whole thing over?
I would be delighted. By way of announcement, your Committee on Judiciary will meet today at 3 p.m. in the House Judiciary Committee room. The agenda is posted. The Republicans will caucus in the chairman's office at 2:45 p.m. today. Tomorrow, the House Committee on Judiciary will meet and at 1 p.m. in the House Judiciary Committee room. The agenda will be posted. And that is the conclusion of my announcement, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman of the 51st, Doug Staller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Education will resume its posted agenda today at 3 p.m. in the Education Committee room. The Education will meet again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in the Education Committee room. The agenda will be posted.
Gentleman of the 15th, Doug Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Government Organization will meet today at 3 p.m. House Government Organization Committee room, and the agenda is posted.
Gentleman from the 40th, Doug Jeffries.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Health and Human Resources will meet at 1 o'clock today in the GovOrg Committee room. The agenda is posted. Republican members will caucus at 12:45 in the Vice Chair's office.
Gentleman from the 10th, Doug Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning. Your Committee on Energy and Manufacturing will meet today at 1 p.m. That's clarification, 1 p.m. in the Judiciary Committee room. The agenda is posted. Republican members will caucus in the Vice Chairman's office at 12:45. Thank you.
Gentleman of the 54th, Doug Hott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Prisons and Jails will meet tomorrow morning, February the 18th at 8 a.m. It'll be in the Judiciary room, and the agenda will be posted.
Lady from the 52nd, Doug Seipold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Seniors, Children, and Family Issues will meet at 9 on Friday morning in the House Government Organization Committee room. Please bring your computer, and the agenda has been posted. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 11th, Doug Keaton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Republican freshman dinner tonight. The invitation is in your inbox. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 65th, Doug Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Select Committee on Tourism and Economic Diversification will meet today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Gov Organization Committee Room 215E. The agenda is posted.
Gentleman from the 37th, Doug Pushkin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Two announcements. On your desk, you will find a letter from the U.S. Department of Labor regarding House Bill 4331. If you would like all the information that you can on the bill, you can read it. Second announcement is the Democratic members of the Committee on Health and Human Resources will meet in my office at 12:45.
Gentleman from the 3rd, Doug Fluharty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Democrats will caucus, short caucus. GovOrg and lunch will be provided immediately following session. Break.
Are there further announcements? If not, the question is on the motion that the House stand adjourned at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Those in favor will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The House is adjourned at 11 a.m. tomorrow.